Hi there, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel about crypto. In today's video, I just want to give a quick update on the current market situation, the projects I'm looking at, and what I think is likely to happen within the next couple of weeks, and why I think that we will probably see a rebound soon when it comes to the crypto market overall, and possibly NFT market as well. As always, if you like those videos, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Please do check out the community section as well. And also, just want to let you know that the private Discord channel will be open very soon, within the next couple of days. Or it may be already open, depending when you are watching this video. And in this private Discord, I'll be talking a lot about, well, essentially stuff I don't necessarily have time to always talk about in those videos. So I'll be looking more at current market situation. I'll be talking more about altcoins, about my portfolio, about my strategy. Also, I'll be talking about a lot of the stuff earlier than in the videos, because of course posting there is much quicker than making a video. The Discord server at the moment will be open to everyone. Eventually it will be closed and there will be paid options, but at the moment anyone can subscribe and the first 50 people will get an OG role, which will be quite beneficial in the future. Okay, so let's have a look at the chart, and of course, as always, let's start with Bitcoin. Not much really has been going on for the last few weeks. Really, since the beginning of the year, we've been either in a downtrend or just going sideways. However, I think there is something quite interesting we see here in the chart. If we draw some lines, and there are just lines on the chart, but we could speculate that what we are seeing here is this wedge pattern. Oops. Let's put it there. And at some point, rather sooner than later, we will see either breakout to the upside or breakdown and a major capitulation. But there seems to be a bit of a pattern with those higher lows and potentially slightly lower highs. I mean, I don't know if this is considered a local high, quite possibly, because it looks like the price is going down now. But essentially what I expect to happen is that, well, at the very latest, by sort of mid-May, these two lines should converge. And we should see very clearly whether then the price will go up or down. Another thing that is worth considering is, of course, that April generally is a good month for crypto. So far we had pretty average January. February was really good. Then March has been, well, not so great. But if you look at the history of Bitcoin, I think it was 9 out of 12 months we had really solid gains in April. Well, essentially we had gains in April, and then majority of those gains were double figure gains. So it's not unreasonable to expect that if this is any sort of an indication, well, we could see Bitcoin above 50K at some point in April. Also, if you look at the chart, Bitcoin's bull market support band is going down, depending which line you want to look at. If we switch to a weekly and we can see that currently that's somewhere between 43.5 and around 45,000, depending on whether you prefer to use 20-week SMA or 21-week EMA. But essentially, if Bitcoin can break to those levels here, so around 45, 46,000, and stay there, well, that would put us quite firmly within that bull market support band. Then the question is whether we can stay there and go above, or whether we'll get rejected again, as we were rejected a couple of times. Of course, another rejection would mean that most likely, at least in the short term, the prices will come down, and potentially it could also mean a massive capitulation event, which would then fuel the next rally. However, if we do manage to stay within that band and then break above it, well, that could be the beginning, that should be the beginning of the next bull run. We will likely see something similar to what we had in late summer, early autumn last year, where we broke above it, went up a bit, retested it, managed to hold as support, and then we went on that massive run in October and November. early November. Finally, if we switch here to our Heikin Ashi candles, let's get rid of this. We can see that the last 3 weeks were really indecisive. Those very small candle bodies with long wicks essentially indicate that they can indicate change in trend if it happens after a long downtrend or uptrend. A candle like this would suggest that it's highly possible that the trend will change. However, if we see those candles in a row, it just means that the market has no idea which way to go. This candle here, that was the beginning of the war in Ukraine. So of course, that's rather unsurprising that it was a big red candle. It would be interesting to speculate what would happen if this event never occurred. Would we go up? Would there be continuing downtrend? We actually had one of those candles as well just before that, so it's hard to tell. But at the moment, well, it's quite clear that the market is really, really uncertain. And to be honest, given the global situation, I think this is hardly surprising. But at the same time, this situation cannot really continue forever. In fact, if we look at the chart, it's actually quite unusual to have this many candles like this in a row. If we go, it sort of happened in September 2020. We had something similar-ish in the summer 2020. But since then, really, since these two periods in 2020, we either had quite clear uptrends or downtrends, with certainly not with such long periods of indecisiveness. So let's see how it goes. So far this week's candle, although of course it's just early Monday, so that doesn't really mean much, but so far it looks really strong, it looks really bullish. But personally, I think that next couple of weeks are still going to be either bearish or neutral. But at the same time, given everything I've been just talking about, I think it's not unreasonable to expect that we may actually have a decent bull run, or at least decent local top in April. And then, if anything, the big question is what will happen after that in May and June and throughout the summer. Are we going to have another summer lull similar to what we had last year? Maybe not, because so far we didn't really have a big bull run as we had last year. So maybe that bull run will continue, but of course it's just pure speculation at this point. My strategy really remains the same. If your risk tolerance allows it, there are some really good entry points available at the moment. So whether there are some bigger caps like Superfarm, Vulcan Forge, Remark, CD5 Veracity and so on, or smaller caps, whether it's individual games or bigger projects like Communitas or Altura or something like that, I think there are a lot of opportunities there. Of course, risk is high, and if we get rejected from the bull market support band again, then of course these prices will dip even more. But a lot of them are already at a really, really low point. So it's not necessarily the worst possible idea, again, if your risk tolerance allows it, to take small positions in some of those projects, or potentially if you already have a bag, add a little bit more to lower your average purchase price. I think I mentioned this in a previous video. There I added a bit to Good Games Guild, Titan Arena, and a couple of other projects because, well, basically at those price points, I could lower my average entry quite considerably by not really investing much more money in the project. One of the projects I remain the most bullish on is Veracity, and I also partially like it because, well, I keep earning interest on it, so it's like 25 or 25.5% interest. So of course, all or almost all my Veracity is staked. So the price has been pretty steady recently. It's hovering around 2 cents, which I think is a really good entry point. And then, of course, by staking, you're automatically gaining a little bit, even if the price doesn't really change much. At the moment, if you look around, a lot of the crypto YouTubers and influencers are really, really quiet. The volume in general went down massively. If we look at trends on Google, I mean, in the last couple of months, there is quite considerable dip when it comes to interest in terms of crypto, Bitcoin, or NFTs, which absolutely peaked in January and then dipped massively. So And I can see this in the amount of people which are viewing my videos or commenting on them. But also there's less content currently being put out. A lot of big crypto YouTubers are not really putting out much content at the moment. But at the same time, I think this is exactly the time when you should stick to it, when you should stay interested and you should keep looking into projects and potentially investing, because of course once the market will pick up, suddenly everyone will be on it. I think this is now the key phase, very similar to the summer last year or sort of summer 2020 even, before literally everyone jumped on it. Those were the best opportunities to actually make the big money in crypto because entry points were really good. And well, if we look at this list of tokens here, I think all of those bigger market cap tokens, even if they just go to their previous all-time highs, they will easily hit about 5x from their current prices. Some of them even probably closer to 10x. But then if Bitcoin continues going up, if Bitcoin hits 100K or goes above, I can see a lot of those larger cap coins easily doing 10x and more, while a lot of the smaller projects should comfortably do 30, 50x, some of them 100x. I mean, some of them are sitting at like $1 or $2 million market cap at the moment, which is nothing. If the market starts booming and people will start speculating on those projects, it's easy to see how a lot of them will be valued in, well, pretty much all of them probably, in literally hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's why I think it's really important to keep an eye on what's going on in the space. And of course, within your means, invest in it because, well, the time is really good for it now, in my opinion. Of course, overall, crypto fear and greed index remains in the fear territory. Not much is really changing here. A little bit of an uptrend, but yeah, it's either fear or extreme fear. Volume on OpenSea dipped quite a bit recently. If we look at the volume in March, well, we are about 2/3 into the month, exactly 2/3. So unless there is some sudden massive boom, it's quite safe to assume that the volume will be similar to what we had in December or November. So what projects I'm currently looking at? Well, it is, as always, this list here. Not much really is changing here. I think I haven't really changed anything. Maybe I swapped one project, but these are the projects I constantly keep an eye on and potentially every now and then add a little bit to my bags. And also I look at what's coming up on major launchpads, something like CDFI Fund or Communitas. And basically I just look into those games and I try to figure out whether it's something I should be interested in or not. With individual games rather than bigger projects, I think the risk, of course, remains that you don't really know which of those games will be popular and which won't. Of course, when the market is absolutely booming, it's relatively safe to chuck your money into pretty much any crypto gaming project because everything will be going up. But in a situation like now, it's quite safe to assume that a lot of those projects will probably not do particularly well. So I tend to be quite careful, and if anything, I try to see, well, which projects have the most chatter about them, and also are any major influencers mentioning any of those projects? Do they have any strong partnerships? Because of course these projects will likely be much better promoted once the market picks up. So I think that's it for today. It's already quite a long video, but just to sum it up, I think the key element here, or the key strategy, is to observe what will happen over the next couple of weeks. I remain hopeful that we will see a breakout from the current Bitcoin's downtrend or sideways movement, and that will take the whole market up. I expect April to be a pretty strong month for crypto and probably also for NFTs as well. And of course, if that happens, a lot of those projects will pick up quite a bit. If that happens though, I would say please be careful. Please don't forget to take your profits, or at least de-risk your positions a little bit, because of course we don't know whether that's going to be a beginning of a longer bull run or just a local top, and then we'll have another dip throughout the summer. If anything, this market cycle showed us that we're seeing a lot of those local peaks and bottoms. We had this at the beginning of last year and then summer lull. Then we had another peak towards the end of last year. And so far we've been in another lull. So yeah, and then of course the situation worldwide can impact the markets quite significantly. What will happen in Ukraine, whether there will be any developments regarding peace talks and potentially this conflict coming to some sort of a close or at least scaling down a bit, that will likely, of course, that can suddenly impact market quite a bit. So yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty, but overall I remain bullish for April. And yeah, let's see how it goes. So I think that's it from me for today. As always, if you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.